Flosstube, this is Kathy. So this is video number 2 that I'm recording today. Hopefully they'll go up in order. Anyway, this is going to be my November updates. I know it's only the middle, it's kind of toward the, it's at the back end of November, but I think as I mentioned, Thanksgiving is coming up and the holidays are coming like super fast. So I do have to admit that I'm very unreliable and not consistent with my videos, but I videotape when I want, and I mean, this is something that I do for fun, just to get myself, just to show my creative side, and because I was inspired by watching all the awesome Flosstube videos. I mean, there's a wide range of Flosstube videos, and I do want to just have it out there. So hopefully I'm going to keep this nice and short, because it's only 18 days into November, so I don't really have, I mean, the pile isn't too big. So the outline for today, this video is going to be talking about my whips, and then I'm going to go into what I gotta go run and grab something real quick, but I'm going to talk about my knitting, what I've been knitting, what I've been reading, and what I've been watching. So I'm going to pause this real quick. Actually, you know what, I'm just going to run, so you guys are going to see my beautiful, well, let's see, I'm going to pause this, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So, it's just the hair. So, here's the format. If I outline, I'm going to redo this again, since I have my knitting that I forgot. So what I'm going to show you is first stuff that I worked on, either cross stitch or knitting, that I worked on in both October and November. Then we're going to go into what I've done in October, I did that video. No, what I did in November, what I've been working on in November. And then I'm going to move on to what I've been watching, what I've read probably in the last 2 months, that sort of thing. So let's hope I can keep, the goal is to keep this 15 to 20 minutes. I'm 2 minutes in, so let's go. All right, so what did I work on? So there's 2 projects that I worked on, both in October and November. Whether or not you can see a lot of progress, probably not. Let's start with the short, small one first. So I did a little bit more work on my Country Cottage Needleworks out of their Santa's Village collection. This is Sleighworks. This is where I am with my Hello Kitty needle winder. Move this over a little bit. I had the frog. I think the last time you saw it, you probably saw the sleigh here. I found an error with it, so I frogged it. Story of my life. If I find something slightly wrong and it's not horrible, I frog it. So, and then I've been working on the roof. This is gonna be tough, just because something didn't quite line up, so I think I took out some stuff. So hopefully that'll be a little bit better. So that's it. And then for a while after work, and while I was home, I was working a lot on this, but this, actually, let me adjust it so you can see all the work that has gone on in this. So let's see if everyone can see this. So this, sorry, is where I am with my a little light reading. I actually stopped working on it at home for a little bit, because I was feeling I was making way too many too many mistakes and frogging a lot of it. And this is really hard to frog. I've included, like, if you mess up one thing and you're trying to take it out, it's like soup. I think with my analness, me being anal, I have to just live with it. I'm trying to live with it, but it's not working. So I have been pulling out a bunch of stuff, and I'm trying to figure out a better way of doing it. So, because I'm getting tired. I got tired of all the background color. I was trying to do the dragon. Well, then I found out I did some stuff wrong with the dragon, so I had to frog that. It just went into timeout for a little bit. Basically, that kind of spiraled. So I've been actually, what I was trying to do is I'm trying to go down here a little bit so that I can figure out, get to some other colors other than this beigey type stuff, which is great. Especially here if it's, you know, since it's a solid color, easy peasy one color, you know, so I might actually try to take this with me to Wisconsin, especially if I have these large color block areas, because I could just have one color and just go boom, you know, I can outline it, boom, 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 boom. That might be good. It's time to figure out how to travel with my hate stuff, because it's a little bit bulkier than my normal patterns. And I think I'm going to order myself a grime guard for my 11 by 11 Q-snap, just so that I can contain all of this. I've been toying with trying to start another one, but I have so much stuff I shouldn't. I should really knock out some more stuff before I keep my little stuff, my more portable stuff, and keep this, you know, as is. But I mean, I'm enjoying it. I'm going to try to go smaller, which is why I had different stuff in, while I had, you know, while I'm experimenting, because I typically do 14, so that means I get 28 count Joblin. I'm trying to do 16, which, liking 16, I've got a couple stuff that's in 16 that I'll show you in a little bit, so that's it. So, I need to keep moving because we're talking too much. I'm not really talking too much, I'm just trying to be concise. And I tend to babble, and it's been a while since we chatted, so the funny thing is, like, I went to come over, I am not girly. I am tennis shoe wearing, flat wearing, jeans, sweatpants, yoga pants. I'm not your girly girl. Me and Jack like to eat, but we don't really go to charity dinners. I mean, we donate to charity, yes. I mean, we donate to, you know, charities that we like. You know, I do Society of Women Engineers, I do my local section. I try to donate to the colleges that I went to, but I'm very specific in the sense of where they have to donate their money to. I can't just donate to the general fund. I want it specific to their women initiative, since women engineers are still a minority, especially in electrical engineering and in engineering in general. So I try to focus it on, they have to use it for their women's programs, their women in engineering programs, so to speak. So we do that. So I don't typically, I'll wear a dress. I don't like to wear a dress. So if I can get away with wearing dress pants, I'll wear dress pants to something fancy. I mean, I will wear a dress. I mean, I don't think, if I could ever personally get away with wearing dress pants to a wedding, I'd probably be super happy, but chances are that's never going to happen. I think my mom would be mortified. So anyway, where am I getting this? With my story. So I'm going to try to prep while I'm doing this so I don't lose the momentum here. So I went to go get my brows done, which I tend to do every 4 weeks. I get my brow and lips done, so if that's TMI, I'm sorry. Still PC. That's all I get, waxed. By the way, nothing else. Neck down, not happening. So I went there. Yes, I went there. So yeah, I just got them done. They're not as bushy and they're more refined. They look nicer. It's just simple. It's just simple basic upkeep, just to, you know, make yourself look a little pretty. I mean, actually for you all today, I even put on some makeup, meaning I covered up some blemishes. I used my Benefit eyebrow to pop my eyebrows, and I have some floss. The lighting is acting a little weird because I've got the sunlight out here. Got the mirrors in the background. So this is going to be another longish video, and I'm sorry. I guess I'm warning you guys ahead of time. The 15-20 minutes, yeah, this is going out the door. So this is actually my foyer. Sorry if it looks messy. That is a shoe rack. Because I was laying all my shoes out, and my husband feels, this is my husband, go figure. I understand. Usually I have on my shoes, they're in height. So he got a shoe rack. So this is basically where, like, all of his shoes and all of Oliver's shoes that the shoes that they wear, they're theirs. Most of my shoes are on there, and then some are in the closet right there. So I call this actually my auxiliary dining room, because right there, where I'm pointing to, that is my front door. But when you're walking through, but this whole wall right here, from, you know, on the side of this, is all mirrors. So the one and only time that I had Thanksgiving here, I had the family here. We had 2 tables here. I'm sitting at my kitchen table right now. So we had 2 tables, my regular kitchen table and a folding table. And then us kids were in what I call the auxiliary room, which, you know, there's a lonely closet there. So it basically is, everyone could almost fit in here. So, I mean, I have, like, one of our friends calls my house like a beach house. I mean, it's a beach house in the sense that it's warm, it's inviting. It's just, this house is, like, made for people to come over and hang out. There's plans to update the patio and all that stuff, but, you know, basically it's I mean, my house is very lived in. It's not super clean. It's not showroomy. It's just, I still have college furniture. Yes, I've been out of college for almost 20, I'm like, this year's our, next year is going to be Jack and mine. Well, both me and Jack will have our 20-year high school reunion next year, but we still have a lot of the original furniture we have. We don't have really, we don't have the you know, when you watch the home shows, you know, all that stuff. Anyway, I'm digressing, so I gotta stop. So this is my Christmas sock, you know, that I was knitting on a sock blank from Gail's Art. Still loving it. Hasn't got a lot of love. So this doohickey the stitch minder. Basically where I was the last time I showed you guys. So this is probably early October. So since then, let's see if I do it this way. I've turned the heel and I've started up the leg. So usually what I do, I'm gonna keep this quick. So what I usually do is I usually fold the sock in half when I'm knitting. And it looks really narrow, but it's not. So what I usually do is I knit, after I turn the heel and I start knitting up the leg, I usually knit until I get to here, which is basically where I stop increasing for the toe. So then from where I stop my increase to the edge of my toe, this is where I do my cuff. So I'll start my cuff there. So this is how I self-contain my sock. So that's that. We're gonna keep moving. So this is living in my, so a lot of the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery needle minders are from Etches Cup called A Needle Runs Through. So my socks, which is in this gorgeous Hello Kitty bag, is also from A Needle Runs Through It. Here's our tag. So super cute. I love it. This is probably one of my favorite bags. It's very well made. It's huge. So in that case, it's pretty good. All right, so the other So the other thing that I worked on, that I just worked on this week, is my, I think it's the Alger shawl, I'm not sure. It is the Through the Needle, TTL. So this is from Kristen, this is a Kristen Kapoor design. This is her 2014 mystery shawl. So basically, where you see this, I think it's like 2-3 stitches. So from where you see this lifeline to this is basically where I've worked on. It's a lace shawl, which I'm really loving, and I'm doing it nice and slowly this time. So I'm just doing a, maybe a handful of rows each time, so that works there. So that's the knitting. I'm gonna take a quick break, and then I'll come back. All right, onward. So onward to the stitchy stuff. Okay. Stuff out. So again, this is in no particular order. I just put it all in a pile and just gonna pull it out and show you guys. And sorry if there's gonna be crinkling. Reach over here. Oh, actually, it's not that much. So okay. So all right. So first up is what I started on last Saturday. So this is my first. I did a lot of firsts this month. So in terms of projects. So This is a Christmas pattern that is released by Jawdery. It's for sale on Jawdery's. I'm not sure if she designed it, if Michelle designed it, or somebody else designed it. So I apologize. So this is a Christmas pattern that I found on the Jawdery Designs website. It is all about Christmas pattern. It is knit on toasted knits. I always do that. It is stitched on toasted almond in a 28 count jovelin from Hand Dye by Stephanie. And then all the flosses is by Jawdery that I got. So as I said, this is my month first. So this is my first time working with her stuff. So basically, I posted I think on Instagram. Oh, maybe I haven't. I will post this later on Instagram showing the start and then the progress, basically, of where we are. So basically I started this last Saturday, and this is where I am. So basically I've got the star almost done. So once the star is done, then I would say I probably have at least a good 75% of this done, because there's just a couple more words and then some blue words. So this is super quick. I love the variation in her flosses. So I don't actually mind paying the little bit extra cost to have it shipped to me from England. I actually purchased the threads for her Advent sale. I'm just waiting for the fabric because my plan is to stitch it from a Hand Dyed by Stephanie. So I'm waiting for the fabric, and then I will to work on that. So this is what I started, and then the next pattern is, this is my first Clouds Factory piece. I bought her It's a Spooky World, but I was waiting for the fabric. Or actually, I was waiting for all the patterns to be released before I stitched the Christmas one, or the Halloween one. So that one is kitted and ready to go, and I'll probably start that sometime next year. That's the plan. So this is, now, I think I've found something, now I've been wanting to purchase a bunch of, I've been looking at the Clouds Factories for a little while. Her passports was cute, but wasn't really calling to me, so that's why I didn't participate in. The Zodiac, also not my cup of tea. Her haunted house, some of her geeky stuff definitely called to me, so I think I have purchased a couple of those patterns. Actually, when I bought It's Spooky World, I bought a couple more. So I have a collection of Clouds Factory. I can definitely see a lot of stuff of hers rivaling my Frosted Pumpkin and all the other designers that I've started to like. So we're definitely getting into overload. Anyway, so this is how much I've stitched. So I started this the day it came out because I had the fabric. Or maybe I didn't. I started this shortly after because I think the pattern came out. I got the fabric, which I ordered from 123 Stitch. It's Picture This Plus. So let's start with this. So this is the first part of the It's a Sweet World. So I got the Mary done. I started working on the elves, and I got one of the ornaments. So this is being stitched on Picture This Plus 16 count earthen Ada in the earthen colorway, which I really like. So this is also really nice, good neutral. So the question I had in my last video was, you know, which ones are good neutral. So this is another good neutral that I found from Picture This Plus. So the question I have for everyone watching is, can you give me a list of like either Jewelry or Hand Dyed by Stephanie's, what you call their really good neutrals? Because I think it's really good. I know Jewelry is doing a neutral fabric color, but she's not doing 13 by 18, which is a fat eighth. So I'm on the fence. I kind of want to sign up for it just to get the neutrals. I think it would be good. And I wouldn't mind getting a collection of her flosses as well. So it's something I'm toying with. Just saying. So that's that. I'm almost done. We might actually get to, no we're not, because I'm on the last pattern. I still have my other chatty stuff. Alright, so this is the last one. This is also a new start for this month. So this is Frosted Pumpkins. Oops, falling. This is part of this is her Mary. This is their Merry and Bright. So this is where I got on it. And Ashley and Amanda, I do want to say I love the option that you guys are having where I can just order the fabric and not the flosses, because I probably have duplicates of a lot of flosses. Because what I've been doing is if I get a new pattern, I just buy all new flosses, right? So I'm probably accumulating a whole bunch of extra flosses. So it's awesome that you're just doing fabric in fabric options along with the pattern. So this is knit in the crystal, it's 28 cashel linen in the crystal quartz colorway by Picture This Plus. The one thing I found with this that I had problems with the dusty purple is it's hard to see the colors. And I mean, I'm wondering if it's just the color that is making it hard, because they're both like purpley pinky. So just I don't know. Anyone else have any thoughts on that? Anyway, so that's what I worked on. Alright, last thing. Try to keep this under 20 minutes. Can I talk fast? Maybe not. Anyway, so what have I done? I like to read, obviously I've been always talking about what I read. I read a lot of romance, but I also like to read a lot of biographies. So I've read several biographies on Elizabeth I, Catherine the Great. This is when I was younger. And actually, a couple of years ago, I actually read a biography about Elizabeth II. Now, she is, I think, so what happened is this earlier this month, Netflix is doing a series called The Crown, which actually documents the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. Now, the first season is out, so there's 10 episodes, and it stars Matt Smith of Doctor Who fame. We also get to see his bare bum. Sorry. He basically, after David Tennant, he's my second favorite Doctor. No offense. I have this thing for tall, gonky looking white British boys. I mean, between David Tennant, Matt Smith, Benedict Cumberbatch. Sorry. I mean, if anyone's seen my husband, I bet that's basically my husband's prototype, or type. Granted, they're all more buff than him, but that's okay. I mean, what am I saying? They're buff, but the body shape is still there. I mean, that is basically my husband. Tall, you know, kind of little quirky looking. Got the brown hair going, you know. I mean, I personally think my husband's hot. I've told him that. So, I mean, he's post Oliver, he's gotten really slim. So, I mean, and anyway, it's my husband. I can gush about my husband. We're supposed to gush about our husband because, I mean, yeah, we have our fandoms and that we can, you know, drool over, but, you know, it's my husband. I mean, my husband is hot, in my opinion. Maybe not in other people's opinion. My husband is good looking. I mean, I had, funny story is that, like, the first time that I took, I have a great aunt in Toronto. And she basically is just always this happy ball of, she's a, you know, you have the grumpy old ladies. She's not. She's always happy, positive. My mom basically loves her. She's very warm, and she's, you know, my mom is, so that's my mom's aunt. So the first time she saw, I mean, granted, I'm Chinese, right? So in her, you know, marrying a white guy, a guaylo, as so to speak, it's not exactly always, you know, it's not exactly a celebrated thing still. So granted, in my side of the family, there's only been, it's kind of split 50-50 in terms of the Chinese to Chinese versus, you know, the guaylo kind of thing, you know, the white, the American influence, right? And we have our, you know, that sort of thing. So it's hilarious is that my great aunt is like, oh, he's like, you know, she's like, oh, he's a lang dai, you know, meaning he's kind of cute, you know, he's good looking. So, you know, anyway, I digress. So anyway, so The Crown. So I binged watched the whole first seasons. So if you haven't watched, turn away for about 3 seconds and I'll be back. So the funny thing is, you know, obviously we're still in the first decade. And the funny thing that I found is so her uncle is the one that abdicated, right? And she, you know, she calls him, she kind of calls, it's funny how she calls out these, I mean, everyone kind of underestimates her. And I think by now, like, she is just one powerful lady. I mean, when she, you know, her the woman and her the queen are, you know, her the woman and her title, she has, what we see in the public is the job. And we see her learning, we see her coming into that. And I applaud her because I think she was, her dad started teaching her and I think he thought he had longer time. So he did give her enough stuff, but again, she feels comfortable with it. Even though her uncle decided that he didn't want to, I think her uncle respected the position and what he had to do, and he left the job. And it's quite evident it's quite evident that although he abdicated, and if you think about it, why would someone, you know, you're like, he did the ultimate sacrifice. He could be like, you know, one of the most powerful men in the country, in the world, but he gave it all up, and you're thinking, why did he do that? But then as you're watching this first season, what I realized is that he did respect the job. He respected the job and knew that he couldn't live up to what he couldn't do what he had to do to be the job in the public eye, and sacrifice his own personal happiness. So that's, I found that to be interesting. Because, so sorry, spoilers. So what we see is he left the job, but now he's at their mercy in terms of funding himself and supporting himself. So he's probably doing things that he probably doesn't want to do. Like internally, he's probably still conflicted, or what we see, he's still conflicted. And he basically has to support himself and a family and a very lavish lifestyle, right? So you see that in him. So what I found amazing was when Elizabeth actually called him for advice on what to do with Margaret and Peter Townsend, I was expecting him to give a different answer, but instead he gave her an answer like, you know, he again showed that how he respected the job that he couldn't do because he couldn't do that, but he encouraged her to think about that. And it may have caused her sister to believe that she was going against him, but she has two roles and she has to merge that. So there's things that you personally want to do, but you can't do because of the public perception is another thing. You see that public perception. She's right. Where we ended is there's an internal struggle between both her and Philip of what they need to do to make it work. And obviously, yay for them. They have made it work, right? So I can't see anyone else's marriage being that much more difficult. I mean, marriage is tough and trying to adjust, but what they went through, this is very public. And it is what it is. And they made it work. So, and with okay, I'm scheduling this as politics, so I'm rambling. So I'm going to cut this off if anyone doesn't want to hear me ramble for the rest of this stuff, because I know it's going to be running a little long. So anyway, if you don't want to hear me ramble, because I'm going to talk a little bit about American politics and what I've been reading, because this is running a little long. So if you watch so far and you don't want to hear me ramble about it anymore, because I've already talked about what you want to know, which is the stitching and the cross stitching and the knitting, then thank you for watching. I appreciate you watching. And then now, so anyway, thank you. Yeah, moving on. American politics. So, oh my God. So this election season has been crazy. Super, super crazy. I'm probably giving my thoughts on it. I'm going to try to stay neutral. Now, I have no idea. Now, with the so this is the segue. So, Queen Elizabeth, she became queen and a respected queen starting in like the 40s, 50s? I think 50s, 1952. So, she's gone all through that. And she's one of the most powerful women in the world. She's gone through, she has she's had two female prime ministers. I mean, she basically treated Winston Churchill like a little schoolboy. I mean, this is Winston Churchill. I mean, personally, I would be intimidated. I think she was intimidated. Eventually, she's like, "You are not doing the job." It was awesome. I'm like, there are certain things there was crying. Anyway, I love The Crown. I love watching The Crown. Segue to American politics. So we just had election day like 2 weeks ago, and I think the whole country, myself included, is still wheeling around what happened and how we're dealing with this. This sort of thing, and I don't think it's gonna get any better anytime soon. I'm trying not to show my side too much. So, what I'm saying is, while I think we need the Electoral College, I know the way it happens is Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, but Donald Trump won the Electoral College. Now, a lot of people are saying that we need to get rid of the Electoral College, but no, we don't need to. We need to keep the Electoral College. Maybe each state needs to change how they want to allocate how the Electoral College votes. But we need the Electoral College. Because if it was a popular vote, all the politicians would focus on the East Coast, on the West Coast, and Texas. Everyone in the middle would probably be forgotten because you just need the popular vote, and you would just... As it mentioned in the election, you would focus, they focused on where their money was spent. Like in Michigan, when it was the last two elections, I think with Obama's grassroots, he had volunteers coming out, knocking on doors, talking to people, asking how they were going to vote. I got one like research company call me and ask me what I was going to vote, because we don't have a home line. So I don't get that much. I mean, but there wasn't that many Hillary signs. There was a lot of Trump signs. We're not going. I'm gonna try not to go into that because that's just a little too crazy, and I am still trying to wrap my head around it. But from that standpoint, I don't know what we're thinking. And I believe a part of why Mr. Trump won is because he's a very charismatic man. He can speak. And he can speak well, and he has the charisma that Obama has in terms of how he's, in terms of his delivery and making people believe and uplift. Making people believe. I can't even say uplift. So from that standpoint, and plus people know who he is because he's on TV. I think all the other candidates, other than him, Secretary Clinton, weren't really household names. I mean, they're somewhat household names but at the same time, Mr. Trump, with his charisma and his ability to sell something, won people over. Whether or not you agree with his message, he pulled that off. But what we're seeing now is that he's not prepared for the job. His choices of making America great is not one of unity right now. That's all I'm saying. So it's going to be an interesting couple months. It's going to be an interesting 4 years. And Mr. Trump is our president-elect, whether or not you like it or not. I don't really like it. That's my personal opinion. Do we give him a chance? Probably should, because we do believe in a peaceful transition of power from one leader to another. Are there, and we have mechanisms, processes in place that if he's not doing the job, we can rectify it. We can fire him if he is not doing the job like he's supposed to. But first we have to let him do his thing. Yeah, we can protest. We can peacefully protest. Once you start rioting, that is wrong. So, the funny story is, okay, I'm gonna be honest. Me and Jack both voted for Secretary Clinton. Now, our 5-year-old wanted Mr. Trump to win because he liked his name. So he's been slowly, now this is the personality of my 5-year-old. He has been egging his dad, and he knows he's egging his, the mentality, the psychology of a 5-year-old only child is quite interesting because he knows